Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the mini Microtech Troodon. Little teeny tiny thing, right? The idea here obviously is to cater to people who live in California or areas where there are just ridiculous laws against automatic knives. Why don't you want to stand up, please? He's sleepy. Okay, but yeah, that's the idea here. So for a lot of people, this is going to look, like a novelty item. But yeah, there are factually people who live in areas who certainly could make use of a double action automatic tool, such as the mini Troodon. But they are limited because of the laws there. So yeah, that's interesting. This guy may or may not be available by the time you're watching this video, but I know that when I looked, there was a coming soon link through Blade HQ, so I'll link this down below. You guys can check it out. It's pretty expensive. We're going to talk about that. These are made in the United States. That's definitely going to add to it, and it is an OTF, so that's going to add to it. But we're going to talk about price. I'll also link Microtech knives in general so you guys can take a look. Thank you so much to George for sending this in. Really appreciate that. It's because of people like George that I'm able to bring you guys daily knife content. It's also because of my generous patrons. Thanks so much for supporting me right now. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, there's a link for it right down in the description. Your support means the world to me. And please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All right, let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. It's probably not going to stand up, so overall length coming in at, okay, if you want to go to the butt of the knife, it's about 5.1 inches overall, maybe 5.2. Out to the glass breaker, you're looking at about 5.3. Your blade length is coming in at under 2 inches. Yeah, definitely. Let me get that on the overhead so you guys can see for sure. Yeah, there you go. Right there, you're under 2 inches, and then your cutting edge is looking like 1.8, something like that. Let's do some size comparisons. How about up against the Microtech Combat Troodon? Troodon, whatever. So yeah, here's the little guy. There is actually one in between. I know people are like, why didn't you show the in-between one? Because I don't own every single knife that exists at all times. I have to give those knives back to the people who send them in. Sorry, that was really sarcastic, but I feel like, people ask me that, and it's like, what, are you serious? Because I don't have it. There is a medium-sized Troodon that comes in at about, 7.5 inches overall. So this big guy up here is 9.25. So you can see the incredible difference between these two. Let's do some other size comparisons. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3? There you go. Taking a look at these two guys right here. We skipped the Rat. Let's put it up against the Rat 1. Not that any of this means a whole lot, but just so people get an idea for the versus the knives that they might own. And last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and its little brother, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. It's funny because the Benchmade Mini Griptilian is the smallest knife that I use as a size comparison. You can see here, it actually looks gigantic compared to the Mini Troodon. Normally I'd say let's do a hardware check, but we can't because you can still find my tools down in the description, but we can't because we've got the tri-wing screws. There is a tool for this. You can apparently buy it and get into it if you want to. As far as whether or not Microtech's warranty covers that, I have no idea. Talked with Microtech about that. The tool is expensive, right? Some people fashion things that they can use to take their knives apart. Whatever. It seems like Microtech is at least aware that people are not super excited about proprietary hardware because they did change to Torx heads in their Scarab, their new Scarab 2 model. Maybe that means we'll see that change across the board. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just partial change. I don't know. As far as this guy goes, it's got the tri-wing screws, so it is what it is. Let's go ahead and do carry profile up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here thickness. Yeah, it's not even quite as thick as the Spyderco Para 3, so that's nice. Should be the case with such a tiny object. Carry profile, length and height up against, how are we we do it like this? It's weird because the firing switch is... Okay, it doesn't matter. PM2 and Para 3, you can see lengthwise and heighthwise. Yeah, it's just not going to be a problem. This is a teeny tiny object. It's just not going to be an issue. I'll measure the blade stock thickness for you guys here real quick. This comes in Tanto. I imagine that if it doesn't come in any of their blade shape right now, it probably will. Microtech likes to do a lot of different blade shapes. Blade stock thickness, yeah, not a lot. There's not a lot here, you know, and that makes sense considering the grind, how, you know, tall the blade is. Not very tall, right? So you want to have enough room to drop down to a reasonable cutting edge. What are we looking at for materials? We are looking at CTS 204P, which is an analog to M390. That's the one of the American analogs to M390. The other one being CPM 20CV. So premium blade, and then. Sorry, we have some sort of spec on there. We have the aircraft aluminum, same aircraft aluminum that you find on other Microtech knives for the handle. I can say it's almost an inevitability that we will see other colors besides black on this guy, but as of right now, I think we're just seeing black. 2.15 ounces. I think most people can agree that is a reasonable amount of weight, so you're probably going to be just fine. Okay, moving on here. This is essentially it's exactly what you'd think. It's a shrunk down Troodon or combat Troodon. Even though I said them like as if they're two different knives, I pronounce them both differently. I just can't get a firm, I can't get an anchor's grip on exactly there. Because I said Troodon for so long, and apparently it's Troodon, or maybe it's the other way around. It doesn't matter, whatever. Same grip lines, they're just kind of smashed in here. Same type of button, it's just smaller. So there you go. This is much easier to actuate. It takes quite a bit of force to actuate this guy. And also, as you can imagine, the spring it's a lot bigger spring in the big guy. Way more powerful. This is not going to have the same type of power. It's going to come out, right? And if you keep it, you know, if you keep it well maintained, then it'll keep coming out, but nowhere near the same type of power, right? Everybody who picks up an OTF for the first time automatically assumes that all OTFs are designed to be held up against a surface and then fired so that it goes through the surface. There are versions of OTFs that do that better, like single action ones, but I would argue that while some are capable of that, these are still just tools in my eyes, you know, so think whatever you want. In any case, this is not that. I mean, you can see here, I can actually do this with my index finger. And, you know, if you find, by the way, people ask me, like, my button is so tight, I can't, my little drop of, here, where is it? There it is, right here. Break-free CLP. Just one drop right there, and one drop right there. If you're having issues with your Microtech OTF and how tough it is to throw that blade, number one, consider the positioning here. If you're coming at it like this and pushing down, you know, yeah, you're gonna have a problem. Come down here and push it forward, right? Path of least resistance. But if you've owned it for a while and you're having issues, yeah, break-free CLP, drop there, and you're good to go. Don't use that on the inside. For this, you know, the blade and the internals, I would use Rem oil. I think that's what they use at the factory, so yeah. This one is much easier to actuate than the Combat Troodon. It's even easier to actuate than some of your bearing-operated Guardian tactical knives. So that's good. It's still kind of sharp, like the firing switch is still kind of aggressive, but okay. Has a glass breaker, which makes almost no sense on this whatsoever. God. Just trying to imagine breaking it. No, thank you. They should have just done a screw on this, you know, the glass breaker. Honestly, at this point, I mean, it's there in an extreme circumstance. If you need it makes way more sense on the big guy. If I need to break glass, yeah, I can definitely do it with this guy. This guy, I'm probably going to tear up my hand. That's just what's going to happen, right? So, all right, it's there. So the look is completed, right? So that's nice. Pocket clip. Same pocket clip that you get on a lot of other Microtechs, right? This one you can see here. Serial number, and then it was made in October of 2020, so this is a fresh one. You're still going to have to fight it. Microtech knives really like to grip your pants really hard because they have that double divot, right? And the bill is a continuous ramp, but it's quite the bill. So it obviously isn't a knife that you're going to be taking out and using hard. If you squeeze this thing really hard, yeah, the pocket clip is a hot spot, but honestly, I'm going to be holding this knife like this most of the time. Best case scenario, 3 fingers on it, right? It's just a package opener. It's a letter opener. It's not meant to be much more than that, right? EDC, general EDC knife, right? The blade looks great. It just looks like a shrunk down Microtech blade. So we've got the fuller, and we've got the little holes. They still insist on putting their stamp, their billboards all over it. USA Microtech Troodon-M TE 204P, right? And nothing on this side. Jeez, but they, that's their thing. For a little teeny tiny blade, actually, because this is a Tanto, it's actually pretty robust. You have a flat that carries out about 85% the length of the blade, carries a lot of thickness out to the tip. I wouldn't be too worried about the durability of this, but what are you going to be using it for, Down at the edge, it's sharp, but it's pretty, I don't know if I want to call it thick. It's surprisingly thick for how short the blade is. Can you get it into a letter or a package and open it up? Yeah, and that's all it really needs to do. It doesn't need to do more than that. It does that, right? Comes in and out straight. As far as blade play, oh boy, it's pretty tight. Wow. My Combat Troodon signature series is tight, but yeah, it honestly feels like maybe it's even a little bit more snug than that guy. So yeah, it doesn't move very much. Most OTFs move a little bit. The deadlock doesn't move. That's a $1,500 custom, and I know about it, so thank you. But yeah, most OTFs, right? There's always going to be somebody claiming, my Benchmade Infidel has 0 blade play. Yes, it does. But thank you for telling us. I'm so sorry. God, that was sarcastic. Yeah, most OTFs have blade play. I honestly, people telling you that they're, Microtechs and their infidels and whatever don't have any blade play, I'd take that with a grain of salt. Most of them move. And if it doesn't have play, I would think that you've probably got something wedged in there. Okay, I gotta stop because all I'm doing is just inviting argument. But anyways, yeah, there's very little movement. As far as OTFs in this caliber, this is one of the snuggest that I've felt. Maybe that's because the blade is so short. I have no idea. But yeah, comes out straight, no rub marks, anything like that. Of course, the tumbling looks great. I imagine there'll be other finishes, lots of other finishes, right? And the 204P steel is welcome. I think it makes sense on a little teeny tiny knife like this, right? You're not going to use it hard, just stainless and great edge retention. There you go. Really doesn't need to be much more. I mean, little things that I can complain about, not much. The glass breaker makes absolutely 0 sense. You can't change my mind, but you're welcome to try. It just doesn't make sense at all. Honestly, Tanto on this, some people are going to like it because of how it looks. I just prefer a drop point, right? Or honestly, a little dagger. I think that makes more sense. But in California, I don't know if daggers are legal even under a certain length. I honestly don't know. On a little tiny knife like this, if I was going to carry it, I'd want a dagger. I just would. Be cool. Cool little office carry, right? The world of micro OTFs is not expansive. There's not a lot of options out there, so I can understand, filling this void here, right? There are a few. There need to be more side opening and OTF automatic knives so that people in California can enjoy them and carry them legally. This is definitely one of the most expensive. I think the Exocet is in there too. This guy, the first time I saw it, $285. I was like, wow, holy cow, are you serious? And the pre-order price, the one that I'm looking at on Blade HQ, says $300. Come on, that is too much money. I get that this is made in the United States, right? But look at their UTX 70s and their UTX 85, right? Those are less. $300, that's more than an Ultratech. What's going on here? Look, this makes sense for people who live in an area who, have issues with, the legality in the area, right? And who just really, really want to carry very specifically a micro version of the Troodon, and they like the fancy stuff. Okay, then maybe for you guys, this is going to make sense. For everybody else, $300 for this is way too much money. Honestly, $240 is about the most this should come in at. Where am I getting that? Look at their UTX 70s at base price, right? There'll still be people arguing, that's too much money. No, I think that's fairly reasonable. I think their most reasonably priced knives are the UTX 75, the UTX 85, and the Ultratech, right? But geez, if you can get an Ultratech for less than this, right? I mean, for everybody else, not the people in California who are limited to stuff like this. For everybody else, no. Geez, come on. I mean, seriously, like, why, Microtech? Why is this $300? I love Microtech, by the way. I'm a big supporter of Microtech knives, And I'm obviously, I mean, I own this and I've owned tons of other Microtech knives. I'm going to keep buying them. And I'm known for spending more money than I feel like I should on not just Microtech knives, but other knives in general, right? But I mean, I can't sit here and tell you that this is a $300 knife. It is US made. The chassis, right? It's more complicated than on a folding knife. Fit and finish is arguably even more important on a knife like this where the blade comes in and out of the handle. So all of that stuff is going to add to the price. But should it cost $300? As somebody who does not work for Microtech knives, is not a machinist, not a knife maker, not a knife manufacturer, right? There's a lot of information that I'm lacking, but still, it says $300 it's too much, right? So this is cool. Some people are going to pick it up as a novelty. I think it is perfectly functional, and day to day, if you work in an office where this is acceptable, or you work in some situation where you just don't want to carry a larger knife and you're big into the OTF thing, yeah, I think this will work just fine, right? So people are going to pick it up for that reason, and I think people who do are probably going to enjoy it if you can choke down that price tag, right? For everybody else, no, it's just not a recommendable knife. It's cool, it's interesting. I'm glad that it exists so that people in California can that they have another option. They're very, very limited on options. It's nice that they have the option, right? But for everybody else, no. This was cool, and seriously, George, I am happy that you sent it to me. I'm really happy to experience it, and I think the quality is absolutely there, right? It's just $300. God, can't get over that. No, $240. I'm pretty confident in that. $240 is the most that this should cost. Okay, guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.